This call is being recorded.
Hey guys, thank you for joining the call. This call is to focus on exposing the greatest conspiracy ever, and that is the fact that in 1861, the North invaded the South. The North basically representing the interest of the Crown of England, invading the South, the Republic. And when they did that, they smashed the Republic. Hold on one second, guys. The North smashed the Republic. In 1776, we created a republic, not a democracy. Somebody please research democracy. Find it in the Constitution where we created a democracy. We didn't. We created a republic. United States Code, Title 28, Section 3002, parentheses 15 says, the definition of the United States is a federal corporation. Well, what does that mean, the United States? I thought we are the United States, okay? Well, we created the United States of America. The corporation, Congress formed a corporation in 1871 called the United States. So now we have the United States, a corporation, and you have the United States of America, the Republic. And that's very, very tricky, but that's what Satan does. In the Garden of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, Satan took a little bit of truth and twisted it and said, go ahead and eat the apple. Go ahead, or whatever that fruit was. Eat that fruit from the tree of knowledge. It's okay. It's okay. And so what Satan has done again is tricked people into believing that they are U.S. citizens. Okay? We are not U.S. citizens. We are Republic nationals.
We are not U.S. citizens. We're Republic nationals in reality.
Yes, exactly. Okay? So in 1871, the Congress lawfully, legally, whatever you want to say, created a corporation. That corporation...
In 1871, they created the United States of America as a corporation.
Hold on, guys. We'll have question and answer in a minute. Let me finish this. In 1871, Congress created a government for the District of Columbia. The jurisdiction of the new government is Guam, Puerto Rico, District of Columbia, Virgin Islands, American Samoa, Northern Mariana Islands, Trust Territory of the Pacific Islands. That's it. If you do not live in one of those places, you are not a U.S. citizen. Now, Supreme Court says in the following Supreme Court cases, Maxwell versus Dow says there is a citizen of the United States and a citizen of one of the several states. Another Maxwell versus Dow, U.S. citizens do not have constitutional rights. In Hendrick versus Maryland, a U.S. citizen upon leaving the District of Columbia becomes involved in interstate commerce as a resident and does not have the common law right of travel as a citizen of one of the several states. What does that mean, resident? Look it up. The definition of a resident is a person. The definition of a person, according to the Supreme Court, is a fictitious entity. So when they say becomes involved in interstate commerce as a resident, that means as a person. Okay? A U.S. citizen does not have the right to bear arms, as guaranteed in the Second Amendment. That's West versus Louisiana. A U.S. citizen is a fictitious entity and has no rights. Wheeling Steel Corp versus Fox. U.S. citizens are property of the federal government. See Wheeling Steel Corp versus Fox. The 14th Amendment tells you you are a slave. It says all U.S. citizens are subject to Congress, just like we were subject to the King of England in 1775. Guys, we are exactly where we were as a nation as where these colonies were in 1775. They issued a Declaration of Grievances. You can Google this. Declaration of Grievances 1775, in which the colonies told the King of England, we are sick and tired of your admiralty courts. People, wake up. These are all admiralty courts. Now, we're going to get that, prove to you in the next section. Right now, let me finish this. U.S. citizens have no right to the custody of their infant children, except subject to the paramount right of the state. That is Wadley, Wadleigh versus Newhall. It is evident that they, U.S. citizens, have not the political rights which are vested in the citizens of the state. See People versus De La Guerra. The people, we the people, does not include U.S. citizens. See Barron versus Mayor and City Council of Baltimore. The term resident and citizen of the United States is distinguished from a citizen of one of the several states, in that the former is a special class of citizen created by Congress. When did they create that? The Act of 1871. That is U.S. versus Anthony. We have in our political system a government of the United States and a government of one of each of the several states. Each one of these governments is distinct from the others, and each has citizens. United States versus Cruikshank. Was not a citizen of the United States. He was a citizen and voter of the state. One may be a citizen of a state and yet not a citizen of the United States. McDonald versus the state. That there is a citizen of the United States and a citizen of a state. Tashiro versus Jordan. A citizen of the United States is a citizen of the federal government. Kitchens versus Steele. The term citizen of the United States is the same as the term subject in common law. The change of phrase has resulted from a change in government. State versus Manuel. The privileges and immunities clause of the 14th Amendment protects very few rights because it neither incorporates the Bill of Rights nor protects all rights of individual citizens. Instead, this provision protects only those rights peculiar to the being a citizen of the federal government. It does not protect those rights which relate to state citizen. Guys, again, they are distinguishing between a federal citizen and a state citizen. Jones versus Temer. The only absolute and unqualified right of a United States citizen is to the residence within the territorial boundaries of the United States. Supreme Court, U.S. versus Valentine. So once again, they are distinguishing between a U.S. citizen and a state citizen. What is resident? Once again, resident is person. Let's get into the jurisdictional challenge. Okay. A conspiracy theory is only a conspiracy theory if there's no facts. I'm presenting you with facts. Okay. These courts are not our courts. Okay. They are ran by esquires. The title esquire is a title of nobility. the original 13th Amendment says you cannot have a title of nobility issued by any other country. If you do, you give up your citizenship and you cannot act as an official. You can't hold office anywhere. Okay? Now, 80-90% of the U.S. congressmen, senators, our former president, Barack Obama, proves that he is not president of the republic. He is president of a corporation because he is an esquire.
Did we lose them?
Hello?
Hello? Hear me?
You died there for a minute, but you came back.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you back on?
Mickey, can you mute the lines, Mickey? Can you hear me? Anybody?
I hear you.
I hear you,
Okay.
Tom.
Okay.
This is Dom.
Anyways, jurisdictional challenge. Okay, these are not our courts. They are the courts of the Crown of England. Okay? They are ran by esquires. An esquire is an agent for the Crown of England. Now, we are kicking their butts with a jurisdictional challenge. Can you guys hear me okay?
Got you.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
All right. Comes now Thomas Benson, one of we the people of the Nevada Republic. At this time, I am challenging the jurisdiction of this court and demanding a trial by jury of my peers in a constitutionally compliant court of record. Per the Constitution of the United States, 7th Amendment, according to the Nevada Revised Statute, if you, judge of this court, has a bar card, you cannot be a judge in the court of record. The State Bar of Nevada is a public corporation. Every person admitted and licensed to practice law in the state is and shall be a member of the State Bar. According to the following NRS, the Justice Court is supposed to be a court of record. See a court of record, NRS 1.020, courts of record. The following courts are courts of record: Supreme Court, the Court of Appeals, the District Court, the Justice Courts, and the Municipal Courts. Okay? NRS 1.030, application of common law in courts. The common law of England, so far as it is not repugnant to or in conflict with the Constitution and laws of the United States or the Constitution and laws of this state, shall be the rule of decision in all of the courts of this state. This Justice Court is not using common law. It is using statutes. According to the Supreme Court, statutes are not law, and they're not for we the people, but for government employees. Bennett versus Boggs, statutes that violate the plain and obvious principles of common right and common reason are null and void. Forney versus First National Bank of Shreveport, a statute is not law. Self versus Ray, a code is not law. Self versus Ray. The common law is the real law, the supreme law of the land. The codes, rules, regulations, policies, and statutes are not the law. This Justice Court is using statutes against one of we the people. I am not a government employee, nor a resident of Clark County, a corporation. Additionally, I am a Continental Marshal for the Republic of Nevada, under the Universal Postal Union, duly sworn, duly elected by we the people. See attached oath of office. Further proving that this corporation, Las Vegas Justice Court, has zero jurisdiction over me. The Nevada Constitution, paragraph 9. Provisions shall be made by law prescribing the powers, duties, and responsibility of any municipal court that may be established in pursuance of Section 1 of this article, and also fixing by law the jurisdiction of said court so as to not to conflict with the several courts of record. This court is a corporation. The state of Nevada is a corporation. The Nevada Bar Association is a corporation. You, judge, have a bar card number 55862. This is not a court of record using common law as required by the Nevada Revised Statute. The state of Nevada DUNS number 04314-5677. Nevada State is a corporation. The bar is a corporation, 79-300-0142. The administrative judge, Susan Bauckham, is a member of the Corporation Nevada State Bar number 4526. Administrative Judge Bauckham has moved this case forward without the plaintiff first proving onto the record of the jurisdiction. That is treason, according to the Supreme Court. Matter of fact, guys, that's 4 counts of treason. Count 1, you're moving the case forward without having jurisdiction. Count 2, you are a foreign agent warring against the state. Count 3, you are a foreign agent warring against one of we the people. Count 4, you are a foreign agent warring against the Constitution. Guys, we bring this to a common law grand jury, and if those 25 people find that there is a true bill for indictment, and they get found guilty in a court of law, guys, what's the penalty for treason? There's only one. It's hanging by the neck until you're dead. The reason that they're laughing, ha, 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 Supreme Court decisions, ha, 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 law of the land, Constitution. The reason they're laughing is because there hasn't been a judge hanged for treason since a very long time ago. I think they did one in San Francisco in 1910. Okay? That's the last time. In fact, the reason that these courts are out of control, it's not our courts, first of all. Second of all, there is no grand jury overseeing the courts. 100 years ago, every action in a court was monitored by the grand jury. What's the solution? Grand jury. Form your grand juries. Nevada did. We are completing our grand jury Sunday. Okay? Now what we're going to do is a big push for recruitment. I will be personally sending out 1,000 flyers a week talking about what we just talked about. Are you a U.S. citizen? If you are, stop. You want protection? Come back to the Republic. These courts are not our courts. The police department in everywhere is a corporation. Don't believe me? Go to DunandBradstreet.com. Okay, type in Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. It is a corporation. Go to Manta, MANTA.com. Put in a search for your court, the police department, the state of whatever. I have a listing of every state DUNS number. State of California, DUNS number 071549000. State of Nevada, I got it. State of Georgia, 069230183. Thomas Jefferson said, the enemy of we the people are banks and corporations. Okay? In California, in Nevada, hundreds of thousands of houses have been stolen from the people. We put a stop to that in Nevada and California. We put a stop to that. Okay? How? By challenging the jurisdiction of the court, by creating a court of record. What is a court of record? A court of record applies the Constitution, the law of the land. Okay? It is we the people. Okay? How are we stopping evictions? Okay? We're going into the court and saying, hey, you know what? You know, we're reading what I just read. I demand a trial by a jury of my peers in a constitutionally compliant court of record for anything. Got a ticket? Use it. CPS trying to take your kids? Use it. Hey, FBI, you're a corporation. How do you have jurisdiction over we the people? Hey, ATF, you're a corporation. How do you have jurisdiction over we the people? You're a corporation. Hey, Walmart, how do you have jurisdiction to do anything? They're a corporation, no different than Walmart. It's like Walmart security banging on your door. Yeah, you got to move that car there because it's code enforcement regulation. What? You're kidding me, right? How do you have this is common law land. You have zero jurisdiction. You're a corporation for profit. Now, our group has stopped 5 evictions. So the first one that we stopped, you could say, well, we don't really know what worked. The second one we stopped. Well, not sure if that worked. The third one that we stopped. Well, yeah, maybe there's something to this. The fourth one that we stopped. Wow, really maybe there's something to this. The 5th eviction that we stopped in California for Johan Kim, he went into the court and said, hey, California's got an incredibly strong Constitution. Hold on, let me see if I want to read it to you. California is the bomb. Here, okay, hold on. I'm bringing it up right now. Listen to this. Oh, it's not it. Yeah, it is. I got it. If you, judge, have a bar card, you cannot be a judge on the court of record. Article 6, Section 9 of the Constitution says, the Bar of California is a public corporation. Every person admitted and licensed to practice law in the state shall be a member of the state bar, except while holding office as a judge of a court of record. Really? This prohibition also appears in the Business and Professions Code, Section 6002. The members of the state bar are all persons admitted and licensed to practice law in this state, except justices and judges of courts of record. Guys, incredible. I demand a trial by a jury of my peers in a constitutionally compliant court of record. Listen to this, guys. This court is flying a U.S. flag with a gold trim on it, which tells me this is not a court of record, but a military court, according to the Army Manual of Court Marshal AR-840, which states, gold fringe flag is admiralty, except indoors. Indoors, the gold fringe flag only flies in military courts, and therein, when dealing with administrative matters, are summary court-martial proceedings against civilians. All right, guys, here's the deal. They have jurisdiction over you in this court if you contracted with the military to perform whatever your contract says, and you didn't do it, or you sold military secrets, or you stole something, or you did something, okay? So, guys, if you have contracted with the military to do something and you didn't do it, yeah, okay, I can't help you. You're on your own, okay? The 2 primary criteria of a court of record are the magistrate is independent of the tribunal and the court must proceed according to common law. That's not statutes, people. The tribunal in a court of record is the sovereign of the court. The judge is not allowed to make decisions in a court of record and acts merely as a referee. So in a nutshell, people, we are kicking their butts. Why? Because we're bringing back the real law. We're bringing back we the people. Join us. I'm going to start a campaign next week to pass out or distribute 1,000 flyers a week. That's 4,000 a month going out, exposing this to 4,000 people a month. That's 24,000 people in 6 months. Yeah, 24,000. Checking my math. Guys, if we all do that, we can protect ourselves with grand juries, with marshals, with judges, with grand jury administrators. Okay, how do we have the lawful ability? I'm a continental marshal. Really? How do you have the authority? Well, I have the authority because we, the people, elected me. I took an oath of office, and I notified them by submitting it to the Secretary of State of Nevada and the Secretary of State of the United States. I'm not required to file anything with them. It was just a notification. Okay. Anyways, the Continental Marshals only have authority to proceed with actions that are ordered by the court of record or the administration. The grand juries. Okay. Listen, guys, that's enough for me. I just wanted to cover that basics. Judge Mickey, you've got the floor, young lady. Can you all hear me?
Hear you fine.
Judge Mickey.
I can hear you. Yep, I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Thank you. Any questions?
Where's Mickey?
I'm not sure.
Hey, Tom.
Yeah.
What are we doing about remedy so far? You know.
Remedy is the court of record and the jurisdictional challenge. The next step is to bring their bring their dishonor to the grand jury. We are finishing our grand jury on Sunday for Nevada. California is up and running. Other states are up and running. You need 25 to form a grand jury. And when the judges and police do what they do, and they move against you, you bring that action to a grand jury.
Okay, but what I'm okay. Let me rephrase the question. What are we doing about monetary damages?
Yeah, that would be the court of record, and once they are found guilty, then you issue liens.
Yes, but how?
Nobody's done that yet, so we're still working on that. Marshal,
okay.
Let's see, who is it? Tadlock, Justice Tadlock in Colorado is about the closest that we've got. He's just about to issue his lien.
Okay. Has he issued the lien yet, or?
I don't know. I know that they're working on it.
Okay. Okay. So, what I get? In other words, to get damage or remedy and damage, we have to do a lien. That's an absolute. Okay.
Yeah, and you can't do a lien unless you have a judgment from a court. So we're getting our judgment from a court of record.
Okay. All right. What I meant was initially, I understand that, but what I'm saying is, so far we have not gotten any monetary return on the damages so far, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Because that's what I'm waiting for. You know, these people have damaged me severely. I would assume they've done the same to you and other people on the call. So.
Oh yeah.
And
you got me.
We're all looking forward to this remedy here. I mean, it's significant, and what did we? I tried calling you a few times, but apparently you've been very busy. Have you done anything with the child support issue yet?
I've got a child support issue that I will be addressing.
Okay. Yeah, I was hoping that we could kind of look at that together if we could, because these people...
it's going to be a court of record. anybody else, I've still got to do my own. The first step in that is to issue them a jurisdictional challenge. Use mine as a template. What state are you in? What state are you in?
I'm in California. This is Dominic.
You've got the strongest constitution ever, so it's going to be very easy for you. I'm going to send you, text me your email. I'll send you the one we used for, I got two guys in California that we used this jurisdictional challenge for. By the way, Johan Kim went to court on an eviction, and he read that into the record. The judge, now this is where they want to kick him out of his house, physically send the sheriff, break down the door, point guns at them, and kick them out.
Well, I had that happen to me.
Okay, so he said his script. The judge said, I've heard enough, case dismissed. That was last Monday.
Okay. Yeah, I heard that on the Marshal call the other night.
Yep.
So, well, congratulations. I think I even sent you a text on that. So.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I'll yield the floor.
Text me over your email address. I will get you a copy of that. Send that to. It's on the counter. In the middle counter.
Yeah, there's nothing on there.
Okay, tell your mom. Anyways, send me a. You're gonna find out. You're gonna send a copy to the district attorney, and send a copy to the court. I'm challenging the jurisdiction. Blah blah. I'm gonna answer. Then we will. I'll help you put together a court of record. In fact, at some point I've got to do mine.
Well, why don't we do it together for,
We can.
And I'm trying to, I've been damaged so severely. I've been wanting to talk to you on a private matter regarding this issue, and it's pretty substantial, man. I mean, we're talking, these people kidnapped my kid from me, and I never got a chance to watch him grow up, and I got some stuff I need to tell you, but
give me a call. You got my number?
Yeah, I got your number.
Call again, and I normally return all the missed calls. I missed you. I apologize, but I give me a call, and
I've been working with. We'll talk when I call. Okay.
Got it, man.
All right.
You got it.
Thanks, brother. Bye.
No worries. Any other questions?
If I may.
Go ahead.
Marshal Tom, this is Marshal Dolly in Utah.
Howdy.
Hi. Just wondering, why can't we also, in that court of record, put as part of the remedy as going after their bond, which is kind of like their malpractice insurance, and get that initially, and also put the liens on. That way you get it one way or another. But I would think that going after the bond, you would get it faster, because they not only would lose their job, but they would lose their malpractice insurance to even have a job. So you kind of get them on both things, where they lose their job, plus you get paid from their bond. Is that a possibility, or am I just...
No, I think that's a fabulous idea, and I'm going to defer that to Hamilton. So let's ask Hamilton. I'll talk to him tomorrow and ask him about that. I think that's a great idea. In fact, guys, I had a traffic ticket recently where they snatched me out of my car, handcuffed me for 2 hours, towed my car, charged me with no driver's license, no insurance, and texting while driving. I do have insurance, and it was in the car. When they searched the car, they missed it. But I didn't want to bring it up I didn't want to say, oh, by the way, I have insurance. No. I wanted to beat this all the way with just the jurisdictional challenge, okay? So I submitted the jurisdictional challenge and went to court, not last Monday, but then Monday before, and the cop was there, Officer Kenneth Meade, Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. He was present in court. And the funniest darn thing happened. The judge says case dismissed due to lack of witnesses. But the witness was there. Kenneth Meade was there. I just thought that was really amusing. Really amusing. And that's the second ticket that man has given me. And when he gave me that one for Nevada resident not registering motor vehicle in Nevada, I laughed. I said, dude, I'm going to beat this. And I did. Case dismissed. Okay? Jurisdictional challenge. Guys, these courts are not courts. Not for we the people. Okay? What you need to do is follow my lead as far as, or follow whoever's going to build this damn thing. Let's get together. It's not just me. I'm not saying follow me. I'm saying let's do this. Let's take these flyers and start passing them out to build this republic of the United States of America. Okay? California, I think you have a fully 25 people. Utah, you guys should be close. We need guys. This cop is after me. He told me, I'm putting you in prison. He told me that. He banged on my door. When he first gave me that ticket for driver's license, I sued them. This is before I knew about the court of record. I sued him in federal court. Violations, Title 18, Section 241, 242. Guys, I got 4 pages of Supreme Court decisions that say I have a right to travel. United States Code Title 18, Section 31 says the definition of a motor vehicle is operating in commerce. What is the definition of commerce? You're getting paid. What's the definition of driver? You're getting paid. So if you're not transporting for Uber or a taxi, or somebody's paying you to transport packages, or you're driving a truck for pay, or you're not in commerce. And guess what, guys? I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Even if you are operating a motor vehicle, they don't have jurisdiction over you anyways, because this is not a court of record. This is not the de jure court. This is not. This is a corporation for profit. I'll prove it to you. I was operating a motor vehicle, driving a big-ass tractor trailer, hauling water in North Dakota. I was speeding 55 out of 45. Cop gave me a ticket. Okay? I fought it and won. Case dismissed. So, even if you are operating a motor vehicle, you're not, that's fine. They still don't have jurisdiction. How do you have jurisdiction over me, one of we the people, operating a motor vehicle? How do you're a private corporation for pay. You're creating bonds. You're esquires. What kind of justice can we get? Judge, esquire. Plaintiff, esquire. Your attorney or public defender, esquire. Wow. They're all on the same team. They're all a bar association. The same bar association as England. Stop the madness. Yeah, how do you have jurisdiction? yeah, well, you need to do this and you need to answer these questions. I got the FBI running around asking all the people that I know. What about that? What about this? You know what they're telling them? I'd be glad to answer all of your questions just as soon as you show me how you have jurisdiction over one of we the people. You're a corporation. FBI, corporation, 150-7926. It's a corporation. Don't believe me? Go to DunandBradstreet.com. Do a search for the corporation Federal Bureau of Investigation. I got the DUNS number. Do a search for your local police department on Manta.com. It will say privately owned corporation. The enemy of we the people are banks and corporations. Don't believe me, believe Thomas Jefferson. Guys, this is not a new scam. They've known about this since the beginning of our country. Okay, that Federal Reserve note in your pocket, is that money? No. What's the definition of money? Well, we got to go back to the Coinage Act of 1792, which says the definition of money is gold and silver. The definition of a dollar is one silver dollar. I think it's 392 grains of silver. The Constitution says that the states are not allowed to print anything other than gold and silver. Mint anything other than gold and silver. Is that Federal Reserve bank note gold or silver? No, it's not. Here's one for the guy that's fighting child support in California. The Constitution says that you can only pay a court with silver, with money, gold and silver. Nevada Revised Statute 99.010 says, for you people in Nevada, that the only way to pay a court is with gold and silver. So when they fine you, you owe $10,000. Oh, okay, great, Judge. How would you like? How shall I pay that? Nevada Revised Statute 99.010 says the only way I can pay you is with gold or silver. How do you wish me to pay? Oh yeah, you can pay in Federal Reserve notes. Oh no, sir, that doesn't pay anything. That discharges the debt. I don't want to discharge the debt. I want to pay you. How do I do that? Think about it, people. Federal Reserve Bank was installed in 1913 with the Federal Reserve Act of 1913, which authorized them to print dollars. Okay? Is the Federal Reserve Bank part of our government? Is it federal? No, it's not. It's a privately held corporation. Alan Green, whoever the Fed note president is, he's not a part of our government. They get paid 10 cents for every piece of paper, $1, $100, whatever, for every note that they print, 10%. But anyways, I yield. Any other questions, comments? Judge Mickey, jump in.
Yeah, this is Dan in Virginia.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I think you called for you. Go ahead.
I was just going to say.
Go ahead with your question first.
Yeah, go ahead with your question, and I'll say what I want to say later.
Well, not really a question. It's more of a whatever. Well, to bring it to your attention, that fraud began long before the Civil War. That fraud began as soon as they put the Constitution out there.
Okay.
They came up with a second law form, and they didn't sign it until the states took it on. And basically, that Constitution was put out there because they were supposed to go into session and fix the articles so that they could go ahead and do the things that they needed to do through the articles. And they didn't do it. They come up with this concept with this Constitution, which is a contract. So basically, ever since they put the Constitution out there, the very first one, it's been a contract, and they've been contract workers. Now, all this other stuff going on, we should be able to tell them, you have violated your charter, which is the Constitution. You are fired. Your services are no longer needed, and you will be brought up on charges of damages that you have caused to the people, or harm that you've caused to the people. Okay? But we've got to get the countries. There's not one country. There's started off with 13 countries. How did we end up with one? We didn't. Lincoln lied to them. It wasn't one country, one nation under God. This is multiple nations. There's supposed to be 50 nations right now. Every state has its own constitution, and it's supposed to be a republic constitution, and then they come in and overlaid that republic with a corporate, and that's against Article 4, Section 1, I think it is. You can't have one state inside another state. So what they've done there is they violated the Constitution right there, making everything they're doing unlawful. They violated the original charter, which took us off of the republic, which we had republics before, 13 original republic states, and then those got together under the Articles under a confederation. They took that confederation, they took on their confederation so that they could all join together, because not one of them could defeat England by themselves. They all got together and made that confederation, that compact, saying let's all fight together. And so that's how that got formed. And that was under we the people. That has already been recognized around the world. That's what we were running on for, I think it was 11 years, something like that. And then they took that away. Well, they didn't take that away. What they did was they sent this Constitution out to be ratified by the states. And basically what it was saying is, we can't do this under the Articles. How about if we do this like this? And it was supposed to be until we can fix the Articles. The Articles have never been replaced. They've never been done away with. They've never been superseded. They're still sitting there. It's just like your state. In your state, the one on the land, the seats aren't filled. We've got to get enough people to fill those seats. Then we can take back the republic, and then we can tell the military, you're out there under a corporation. You thought you were signing up to be under the people. You're supposed to be civilian led. You're being led by a corporation. You can step out of that and not commit any treason. Step into this, which is by the people, be led by the people. And we can do the same thing with the police force, because they are under the military right now. I yield.
Good stuff. Thank you. Judge Mickey.
I was going to ask, I wondered if Dylan Stamper was on. He was supposed to come on the call tonight. He had a pretty interesting story that he was going to tell if he came on, that I think your people would like to hear. Don't see him on here. Maybe I'll give him a little bit of a heads up and give him a jingle on my cell and see if he'll come on and answer for us.
That'd be great. Thank you. In the meantime, let me say this. Guys, people, myself even, was wondering, is it lawful to be a continental judge? Is it lawful to be a continental marshal? Is it lawful to be a continental court administrator? And the answer is yes. And we have proof. I'll let see if we can get Stamper on.
I am. I'm just now texting him.
Okay, perfect. But yeah, guys, they're recognizing our standing.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. They're recognizing our standing. I'm seeing that in a few different ways right now, actually. So yeah, they are definitely doing that. Things are changing out there. And I think part of it is because, I don't know who I heard this from. I don't know if it was Justice Doucette or if it was Justice Curry. I can't remember. But one of them was saying that basically the federal court, specifically the federal court judges, basically said that President Trump told them, you darn well better start abiding by the Constitution. I'd like to see where that was in writing or something so I could have it so I could refer to it for the different cases that I help people with. But if that's definitely true, and I think it might be, I think we're going to start seeing a change.
At whitehouse.gov/executive orders, you can review the new president's executive orders, de facto president. And
Yes, I've done that.
It, although I haven't seen the one that you're speaking of, but he supposedly re-implemented the common law of the land to operate here on America.
Where?
And in one of his executive orders. I can't tell you the number of it, unfortunately, but I will try to research that for you. This is just Chris. However, what Tom was saying before about the lawful nature of the Continental Marshals is exactly accurate. These other de facto agents are really operating in legal la-la land where everything is legal, nothing is illegal unless somebody makes the claim. But legally, they are agencies, and agencies only enforce corporate policies. They do not enforce law. They enforce corporate policies and codes. And so anything that they claim to be a lawful order is absolutely wrong. If they are imposturing as public servants when they are really private born, for private profits, corporate mercenaries, acting as public servants to deceive the
mercenary agencies,
to make them believe that they have powers that they do not really possess. Therefore, they are truly imposters masquerading as public servants. And that's a violation of the Nevada statutes under 199. I can't tell you the three-digit qualifier, but 199 is oppression under color of law by government actors in Nevada. Thank you.
I don't see Dylan on. If he doesn't get on here soon, I'll be forced to tell his story.
And a great
how do you not see my number? It's probably at the very bottom because
are you on? Yay, there he is. See, I didn't steal your thunder. I gave you time, and there you are.
Go ahead. Yeah, I
Sorry.
said rogue government. I said rogue mercenary agents. Yeah.
Oh, there you are. Well, tell your story. We've been waiting for you.
Okay. I can only give you a few minutes. I'm actually head to eat and go to work. But okay, I'm going to tell this story as factual as it happened, without any reading into it. Okay, play by play. Why do I have echo? I can't work with echo. I'm sorry. Okay.
I don't know why you have echo.
Okay, so play by play. Here's what happened. My roommate's car is plates are expired. He's got no insurance. He's driving without a license, and the car itself is up for repo. Now, all of these things I can crush in court, no problem. He's not as educated in the law as I am. I've been trying to work with him on it, and it's slow going, but he's getting there. This cop turns across 2 lanes of traffic illegally. He turns from the outside lane to make a left turn to come after us. And he said, well, I noticed your plates were expired, which he could not have because he was never behind us. Anyway, so neither of us, with Patrick not having his ID, he says, can I get your name? So Patrick gives him his name. And he says, who's this guy over here? Well, at this time, I had already called Chief Haywood to inform her of what was going on. I said, if I don't contact you somehow tomorrow morning, you'll know something is wrong. After I got off the phone with her, I called Dixie because she has call recording automatic, and I wanted this whole thing on the record. So I was talking to her the whole time. We were making small talk, and the officer, Roswell Police Officer Villarreal, he asked my roommate for my name. I didn't give it to him, but my roommate spelled it out letter for the guy. Okay, now either he's retarded or something's working. He went back to his cruiser, comes back 5 minutes later, and He says, all right, Mr. Mooney, and he hands him back his stuff. He found him. Now, my roommate's from Arkansas. His license is from Arkansas. Everything about him is from Arkansas. Okay? He put in my name in the computer, and he comes back and he says, who is this guy? He said, what do you mean? He says, who is this guy with you in the car? I put him in the system, and nothing came up, like he doesn't exist. Those were his exact words. And so I looked at him, I said, there's a good reason for that. And he said, what's that? I said, if the paperwork was done properly, I've been completely removed from your jurisdiction. And he's like, oh, really? I said, yeah. If the paperwork was done properly. He says, okay, well, let me see your ID. I said, first off, I'll let you have it. But you're going to tell me why. And he says, well, you involved yourself in my traffic stop. Just like that. That was the tone. Disrespectful little punk is what he was. So I handed over my Texas driver's license, and he had to look it up by the number, and all that came up was my picture and my name. He brings it back, and he very gently taps on my window. I lowered it about 1/4 of an inch. He slid it through and says, thank you, sir. Very respectful, very orderly. By the time all this happened, 2 other cops had shown up. Okay, the guy that pulled us over was in a Dodge Charger. By the time he handed me back my license, we had a Tahoe on the right and a Crown Victoria on the left. He walked back to his cruiser, and he was doing the paperwork, and I kid you not, the Tahoe and the Crown Vic backed up, turned around, went opposite directions with the engine wide open. They booked it. They were gone. So he comes back 15 minutes later with Patrick's citation. And I'm sitting there, and he hands them to him. I said, not to be a pain in the ass here, but is your name and badge number on this? He says, absolutely, sir. And he points. He says, my badge number's right here. Here's my name. Absolutely, sir. It's all on there. I said, okay, good. He's being a little too forthcoming with everything, but whatever. So I sit back in the seat, and I'm still talking to Dixie. And we get on the subject of DW, and I wasn't really paying attention to what was going on in the driver's seat. And I look back over, and my roommate's tapping my shoulder. He says he's talking to you. And I look over, and he says, do you have any more questions for me, sir? Is there anything else I can do for you tonight? I said, no, we're good. He says, okay, you guys have a safe night. And he drove off, and that was it. I yield. Everybody still there?
Hey, can you tell the story of what happened when you went to New Mexico to get out Judge DW? I yield.
Oh, you talking about the big ambush?
The big ambush, and what was the outcome of that?
Well, we were told. Okay, well, I'm going to give the short version of this. Okay, everything that had happened the day before between the justices and the jail and the magistrate, and I think it was even the district magistrate that they talked to and the clerks, all that, we had green lights across the board. Now, I told Townsend, I said, I'm not going to get out of bed. I wouldn't have gotten out of bed if we hadn't had green lights across the board. Okay, if we hadn't had a yes from everyone involved, I would not have gotten out of bed. I would have slept. Now, during DW's arrest, or rather kidnapping, during his kidnapping, his daughter Paris was assaulted by one of these district U.S. Marshals, physically harmed by one of these guys, as was Dixie. Okay, I wasn't so worried about Dixie. She's a big girl. She can handle herself. But when your rogue agent goes and assaults a child whilst physically kidnapping someone and breaking the law, you're going to have me to deal with. I'm not the person.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Let me just give a little information. DW is a continental judge that they raided his house on an alleged warrant from Pennsylvania. This occurred in New Mexico. Stamper is a continental marshal. Townsend is a continental marshal. Okay, I just gave a little background. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I yield.
Okay, sorry. Anyways, I'm not the guy you want to piss off when it comes to harming people, let alone children. Okay, I've seen way too many YouTube videos, and I've seen way too many, like in Hobbs. It's about an hour south of me. A 13-year-old girl was tased in the head by a Hobbs cop, and she was brain dead for 6 months before they pulled the plug. Okay, I'm not the nice guy when it comes to that stuff. Okay, so I made a couple phone calls. I called the Valencia County Sheriff and let him know what happened. I called the state police and said, "Your people did this." And the guy who was on duty, he was like, "You don't want to talk to me. You want to talk to Lieutenant Lucero." Lieutenant Lucero was in charge of the whole operation of DW's kidnapping. She was in charge of that. That is her department. Now, I would like to wager, because of information and things that she said to me, which I won't get into right now, but she has no idea what's going on in her department. She's an idiot. She's incompetent. She needs to be removed. Jeremy Vaughn, on the other hand, he is the little peckerhead who's been swinging the axe on all this. He is the problem. He is an instigator. He is a liar, and he needs to be dealt with harshly. And if the counterclaim goes well, he will be. He assaulted Dixie, and one of his men assaulted a child. So when I called Lieutenant Lucero, she already knew my name. Okay, that's why I went up there. I didn't have any of the paperwork for DW's release. That was in Townsend's hands. I went up there to deal with District U.S. Marshal Gambone, because he was the supervisor over the U.S. Marshals that were there. Vaughn and Gambone were the two bigwigs, I guess. That's why I was there. We showed up, and we walked through the front door. Now, I looked and made sure there was no signage saying anything about firearms. I know what they mean. I know what they think they mean. I just think it's funny. I always look for them. I like to point them out and laugh. I'm going to make this very brief. We walked in, gave the paperwork to Martinez. He said, "Go around to the Sallyport." Now, we were told to go around to the Sallyport, so we did. We went around to the Sallyport. Before we went inside, we talked to the captain on duty. He told us, we asked point blank, "Can we store our equipment?" He said, "Yes, inside the Sallyport." Go ahead and go on in. We get inside, and jail personnel, state police, District U.S. Marshals, all of them swarmed us, and that was where that all happened. Everything else after that is on the record. We were held for prorate. If you prorate the hourage, it was 4 days, but we were there 5 days total. We got out. We were being held on $50,000 cash only. We were released on personal recognizance. The court thing, well, I walked in and it got dismissed. I was prepared to challenge jurisdiction. I was prepared to shoot the judge up one side and down the other and destroy the district attorney. I was prepared, right? Didn't need to be. I walked in and it was dismissed on the spot. I would love to stay on this call and hear some more, but I actually have to go. Is there anything else justices need from me?
I think you did a great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Y'all have a good night.
Hey, this is Dean, Virginia again.
What?
This is Dean in Virginia again. I forgot to mention, we have a website where we are trying to find people in the original 13 colonial states, and we're trying to bring that original organic. The Articles of Confederation. We're trying to bring that forward and fill those seats, and we need people to help us do that. If you want to see what we got out there, if you go to unionstatesassembly.org or .info, either one will take you there. And if you go out there to that site, it'll show you all the fraud that has been committed, and these are congressional documents. This is not something we made up. If you go up to the archives and you look up each one of those pages, you'll find them in the archives. So we haven't changed a thing. We've just explained it. And it even talks about in there how bringing forth the Constitution to what they say is to replace the Articles is a violation of the Articles itself, which is committing treason against the Articles. Now, there's a guy in Maryland that was a delegate at the time, would not vote for the Constitution, and he went back and explained to the people why he wouldn't. And basically what he was saying was, we already have a law form. They're trying to replace it with this other law form, and they swore that they would protect this first law form. Now they're swearing to a higher power that they'll protect this second one. Why should we believe they'll protect the second one over the protecting the first one when they didn't protect the first one? So he gets quite pointed on there, and that's on there. You can find it. It's basically telling how he explains how devious what they're doing with the Constitution is. Now we can still use the Constitution against them as their contract to the people that we will not violate these rights. And we the people, so we are the owners, and that's what we got to wake people up to. We're the owners. If we're the owners, and somebody gets put into an office, elected in, and let's say it's a senator and he's in there for 6 years, why have we got to wait for 6 years to fire him? If somebody works for you and they're trashing your company, you should be able to fire them right then. Well, that's what they're doing, and they're a contractor. They're not even an employee. They're not even de jure. So. We've got to get people's mindset back onto that, and we've got to get them to notice the articles. If we go back to the articles, you'll have a law form to put everything under, but we need help putting this thing back together. We need people, and we need people to fill these seats. And when you fill these seats, that's when you help us put in the stuff that's not in the Articles of Confederation that need to be there, and that's when we straighten this whole thing out. And then we tell them, okay, we have the Articles revised. We no longer need your services, but we will be filing charges against the people in your offices that have violated the people's rights. And then we can go after them all. And, like I said, shift the military and the police force over under the de jure side, not under the corporate side. They will no longer be a corporation for hire. They will be somebody that collects a paycheck to do a job. So, thank you. Appreciate the time.
Can I be the president for
Marshal.
Georgia?
Well, right now I'm Dictator Dean because we got 9 people to sign on to it here, and I'm the only one doing anything. So you can sign on as dictator until you get people that are coming in there with the knowledge that you have, and then you can no longer be dictator because they won't stand for it. But until then, you can be dictator of your state. So, a dictator can only be dictator until somebody stands up to him, and that's basically. I'm looking for people to help me. I'm tired of being dictator. The only one out here coming up with things and getting on the calls all the time and handling things that come up and talking about how we're going to handle people that committed treason against us and against the articles after they signed on with us and stole their paperwork. So there's a lot to handle out here, and there's a lot of what do you call those people? Infiltrators that will get in there and tear your business apart, or tear your goals apart. And Deegan in West Virginia found that out the hard way. I tried to warn them about 2 people that got in their organization and just disrupted it fiercely. Well, I knew it would happen because they did it with ours. We had 9 of the 13 states. Actually, we had 11 of the 13 original states ready to go, and they took 4. So they had them splinter off from us, follow the wrong crowd that wanted to go back under the Constitution once they got everything back under the Articles, then go back under the Constitution, and it was all for commerce reasons, not for what needed to be done. And that's what I'm telling people now. We just got to do what's right. And when you point out something to somebody and they say, well, yeah, but you can't do that. That goes against this, that goes against that. Well, wait, what's right? If going against that is right, then it's right, and go against it. If going against them telling us we have to have a driver's license is right, even though they say you got to have this, and all the people out there believe that you got to have one, what's right? What's right is, no, you don't. We've got to straighten that stuff out. We got to wake people up. I can't even wake up people in my own my own family. But then David couldn't either. His brothers kept telling him, "Go home and tend the sheep." He's the only one who went out there and went after Goliath with. Well, and here's another thing. People say, "Well, we just got to pray. We just got to pray." Well, David prayed, but he also picked up 5 smooth stones and went out there against Goliath. The reason he picked up 5 smooth stones, David wasn't the only problem. He had 4 brothers. Samson prayed, but Samson also picked up the jawbone of an ass. And all we got to do is go to D.C., and there's a whole bunch of them running around up there. So, when you pray, pray's fine, but we also have to put action behind that prayer. So, anyway, any questions? Is everybody muted?
No, they're not muted. They're just being very quiet, and I'm not sure why. I thought that was really good. My husband laughed. He thought it was extremely funny.
I actually had a question, but I was thinking about how to formulate it in my mind. So how does what you're doing align with what we're doing? I'm not saying that we're working different ends here, but I'm just saying, how does it align? Because we, that's part of the, I'm just going to use the word doctrine. Part of the doctrine is the seats that the de jure seats are vacant. So how does that align with what we're trying to accomplish?
Well, basically, the articles give you a way to, that was the last form of government that we had that was by the people. And that still was by the people. By the people, for the people, and of the people, as I think the preamble or something says. But the problem is, when they did it the other way, they were able to put it under a constitution, and then they put that constitution under a corporation, and that's what provided the military, industrial military complex, and everything's done for military, drugs, and oil.
Right.
So,
and I understand that, but what I mean is what you're trying to accomplish and what we're trying to accomplish is how does these two tasks align together? Because one of the things that we understand is we have to get the General Assembly up and elect people into those offices.
Well, that was something that the people that we've been talking to were saying too. And as a matter of fact, even the people in our group were thinking that. And I said, well, and it goes right back to what I said a while ago. Why should we have to wait 4 years to get rid of somebody that is out there doing a job for us and they're screwing up? We shouldn't. Why? Because we're the owners. We the people. We are the de jure. And when we put them in there, we're putting them in there to a trust position, not a contract position, but a trust position. Now, that trust, there's many things that goes with that. Number one, they have to be a trustee, and they need to go in there as a fiduciary. And the way I see the difference in a trustee and a fiduciary, a trustee, you give him a set of guidelines, and that's what he goes by. And you go to him and you say, I want to do this and this and this, okay? And he follows those guidelines. A fiduciary, you go to him and you say, I want to do this. I want to keep it lawful. How do I do this? And the fiduciary knows how to do it. He's a cut above the trustee. So, and how that works hand in hand with what y'all are doing, it gives you a law form to stand by. You don't have to go to these foreign countries to get their approval. We bring this thing forward, and we give them notice that we brought it forward because it's just sitting there. Those vacant seats have now been filled, and this is and has always been our law form. We've strayed away from it, but we're bringing it back. So now you bring that forward, and then after we get the 13 on, immediately we start bringing on the other 37. And then if the territories want to get involved, they can. If they don't, they don't.
Real quick, but don't you need the people behind you? Just a real quick answer. Do you need the people behind you to fill those seats or not?
Yeah, but here's the thing. Not everybody in the colonies was a member of that we the people. like the freshmen passing through, the all the other people, the Indians that were here indigenous, they weren't part of it. The people that were coming here and just passing through and just living here temporarily and going to move on or whatever, and they weren't part of the citizenry of that county and of that state, of that colony. They were not a part, and they were not invited to those meetings because they weren't a part of it. It's just like right now, not everybody out there comes into your meetings because they're not a part of it. And when they do come in and they like their security more than they like their freedom, they're not going to join you because they like the idea that somebody else is carrying the gun and getting shot at for them. What they don't understand is that gun at any time can be turned on them, and they're paying them to do it. So, yeah, we do need the people, but we don't need everybody. We just need enough to fill those seats. It's just like you with your grand juries. How many people do you need for a grand jury? 6 to 12, something like that? You only need that 6 to 12 people. Then when you go to a jury pool, how many do you need for a jury pool? What, 26? Okay, that's all you need. Well, same thing for this. All we need is enough people to fill those seats for Congress. Once we get enough people to fill those seats for Congress, and then we can bring this thing forward and start showing people what we can do and how it gets them out from under all this rights violation. Once we do that, now we can start showing people, hey, you never knew what freedom was your whole life. Your grandma and grandpa didn't even know what freedom was their whole life. We can have our grandchildren growing up knowing what freedom is, because we're bringing it forward for them and we're teaching them, because they'll be easier to teach. Remember, what will they do? They'll stray away from what mom and dad said. Mine did. Mine's all for, or was all for, the previous administration, but they're against what's going on now. You know, the changes that Trump's making. But what we need to do is, and I've been telling people this even before the election, Trump can't fix it from the inside. We, the people, have to fix it from the outside. We, the people, are the owners. We the owners. When you hear we the people, think of we the owners. And we need to reflect that in our paperwork. We own you. When you sign up and you beg us for these jobs, and you go in here as a delegate, as a congressman, as a senator, as a president, you go in there as a servant, not as royalty. You are not royalty. You're just one of the more well-known servants. So don't go in there thinking you're going to run us. We run you. And if you start violating people's rights, we're going to yank you out of there. And we'll put somebody else in there to take over. See, one of the things I've been running into is you go into court, and who does that bailiff think he works for, or she? They think they work for that judge. They don't know that they work for us. They're supposed to be working for us, we the people. They're supposed to be there for our protection. And when that judge disqualifies himself, and there's 5 things that he's supposed to do, immediately he's disqualified by law. He is disqualified, and he is supposed to do it sui sponte, means voluntarily. And he's supposed to step down immediately. And he's supposed to step down, let's see, I'm still missing 2 of them. But anyway, these things are automatic. And one of them is the judge has no choice. Once you prove that they have violated their oath, they violated the canons, they've shown a bias, they are automatically, immediately removed from the bench. Whether they're still sitting there or not, that's our job. We have to make sure that they're removed from the bench. We have to look at that bailiff and tell the bailiff, you heard what he said. Remove him or her, whatever the judge is. Now, they're no longer a judge. You heard what he or she said. Don't refer to them as a judge anymore. They violated their oath. They violated whatever. Whatever the violation is, you show it. Now, you write down what you heard them say. Now, the bailiff writes down what he heard them say. That's proof that he knows now that they violated of what they did. Now, the violation, you don't have to know that he's removing this ex-judge because he's committed treason. Because they'll really back off from knowing that they're removing somebody that eventually will be taken out and hanged or shot by a firing squad. That was two ways that they can be killed for treason, hanging or firing squad. Now, and I believe the firing squad is usually reserved for military, but now these judges are up there on the bench under military rule, so they are basically up there as officers of the military, not just officers of the court. The court, like he said a while ago, it is a bank. It is also a military-run bank because they're under military rule. Now, if they violate it, now they're violating the Lieber Code. Under the Lieber Code, you can go in there and read some of the violations that they can do, and when they are tried and found guilty, they are to be taken out and executed immediately. So you may not want to tell that bailiff that this is what's going to happen to that judge until they refuse to do their job. Then you give them a chance to call their boss and have their boss come over, and that's the sheriff or the chief of police, not some flunky in between. You want it to go to the highest command. Now you have them come in. Now when they violate it, now you can remove them from office and replace them with somebody that will do the job. That is our right. If you have a business, like I've got a trucking business, if my trucking business is being affected by one of my drivers, or I hire contractors, I don't hire drivers, but when one of those contractors violate people's rights and possibly causes can cause a harm out there on the road, I have a right to remove them, step into that seat, do that haul myself until I put somebody else in there. I'm an owner. I'm not elected. I'm one of the owners. We have a right as owners to step in here, clean this mess up, and then go forward with it. We don't have enough people out there that recognize what's going on to elect, since you got to have X amount of people to elect somebody to Congress. We don't have enough people out there. We got to find people that will do the job and know what to do on the job, much less a bunch of people that know what to do, and we have to choose between the bunch of them. We don't have a bunch. We barely got a few. So we've got to wake up to more people.
That's the easiest job of all. Protect your people. Easy.
Yeah. How about that?
Right.
But
well, I didn't.
We've got to wake people up, and we've got to have them do what is not being done now. We've got to have people step into those de jure seats, just like you're talking about for your grand jury. And what the articles would do is give them a worldwide recognized government to step into.
Has Michigan did something similar, didn't they?
Yeah, they will wait for us to bring them home with ours, but they got tired of waiting, and we had a guy that was arguing with them about what they've done and how they've done it and all that stuff, and so they kind of lost interest in us, and that was the splinter group that broke off from us, and it's still out there claiming to be us, and so. But anyway,
I was reading Anna's book, and she said that Michigan technically saved everybody's keisters in the United States of America. That they filed the right paperwork with the right places and opened the door for the rest of the states to get their acts together. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, I've heard that. As a matter of fact, I used to talk to Donna and I forgot the guy's name. I used to talk to them, and then they kind of quit taking our calls once three people got in there and disrupted the whole thing, and they didn't want to talk to us anymore. They just decided they were going to do it on their own. But the thing is, they do not have the protections of the rest of the states. That's one of their problems. and
right.
they don't have a compact with the rest of the states for unity. So they're standing on their own.
Can you give me just a second? I'm loading my computer up real quick. I just turned it on. I want to get that that web address again for me.
Okay.
I don't want to take up Mickey's time on this call to do this, but I think that one of my feelings is that there's a lot of people, even though there's different groups, there's a lot of people trying to find solutions. And yes, you're right. Some of them are infiltrated, but I still feel like that if we can find a common ground, that a lot of different groups should probably start coming together, the speed line, to fast track this. And that's just my personal opinion,
I think so too. What it is, people got out there at first, and ours is the only way. This is the only way. But when you show them what I'm trying to show people is that by bringing forth the articles, one guy says, if you give me a place to stand, I'll move the world. Well, that is our place to stand, to go out here and get rid of the fraud that's going on. And we keep telling people go back to the Civil War and what happened
I'm ready.
during and after the Civil War. Go ahead.
I was just saying, I'm ready. Go ahead and give me that web address.
Oh, that is United States Assembly .org or .info. Either one will get you there.
All right, I'm on it. Good deal. All right.
Okay.
Well,
and if you want to take a shortcut at first, just read the summary, and that'll catch you up to what I've talked about today or tonight. And then if you want to dig deeper, you can go in there and Lori. I'm sure y'all know Lori Anderson. She went on there and she told us, look, your first page here that you've dug out there, it's got one of the most important things on there. She pointed out that it said it was for a different cause than what it was really for. I forgot what it was she said, but she says it says right there. And then you look up at whatever it was she's talking about, and it is a completely different organization than the United States. So,
right.
It's they're quite blatant. See, they have to tell us what they're doing, and if we don't object, what is it about putting in the statement of truth? You put it in there. If it's not rebutted in 30 days, it stands as truth. So they tell us what they're doing. They just don't explain what all it entails, and they don't tell you plain what it does. They use that lawyer speak crap, and you just miss things. Like Roosevelt, when Roosevelt accepted what he was doing, or when he accepted responsibilities of the world or of the people, and then he put the people out there making it sound like, oh, this new currency is going to be going to be backed by the something by the people, the goodwill of the people, or something like that, of the United States, and then they started putting us all under the United States as a dead entity, or as a surety for the dead entity that they put out there called a birth certificate. So, we've been lied to our whole life.
We're actually on the same page for a lot of the stuff that you're saying. But I was just thinking about you answered my question, so I just want you to know that we're actually on the same page on a lot of the stuff that we talk about over here on these calls. And I don't know how many times you come to this call, but I think
this is my first.
This is some good. Yeah, well, I recommend keep coming back, not just this call, but the Monday night call, because the Monday night call is about the assembly, getting the assemblies together and your grand juries together. So yours would naturally dovetail right into that.
Yeah, because basically if we get enough for the grand jury and we get enough for a jury pool, which is my estimation is you got to have about 100 people, especially to cover a state.
Right. Well,
let me give there's going to be a lot of. Go ahead.
Let me give this call back to Mickey because we can't take her call from her. So Mickey.
It's actually Marshal Benson's call. My call is on Thursday night, but thank you. This is actually Marshal Benson's call. So Marshal Benson, it's back to you.
I apologize.
That was good stuff, guys. Thank you. That's right in line with what we're doing. This is an educational call. My segment is actually over, so that's fine, guys. You're all good. Is there any other questions that we might be able to answer? Any questions out there? Judge Mickey, any comments from you?
I think a lot of what went on tonight was really, really good. I was in and out, so I wasn't here for every portion of it. But what I did here was a very good call tonight. You do a great job of teaching, and I know that some of the people on this call maybe are a little bit newer, and the way that you break things down really helps them to comprehend why we do exactly what we're doing. And that's exactly what we need to do. We need to educate. There's all different levels of people that have all different kinds of information, and people are just starting to come on and understand a little bit more that something's wrong in the world. And so that's one thing that you do is you break it down really well for those people too. So that's good. I appreciate that.
I have a quick question. This calls every Friday night? Because this is the first time I'm on it.
Renee Carino, yes, it's every Friday night.
Okay. Yeah, this is the first time I get on, on a Friday night call. I think there's been other calls, Mondays or Tuesdays, something like that.
We've got a call for most every night of the week. I think Saturday's the only time that everybody gets to spend with their families.
Okay. You need, I need to get the messages because somehow I'm not getting the messages. Only when I get them like a couple of days before, I'll be able to get on them. But yeah. Okay. Thank you, Tom.
Sure. Anybody else? Questions, comments?
If I may.
Go ahead.
This is Marshal Pruitt, Sr., by the way. Does anybody know that gentleman's name that was just telling us about the Union States Assembly?
Yeah, this is Dean Merritt. Are you David's dad?
I am David's father, yes.
He's got my number. We talk every once in a while, especially when he's mad.
What was your name again, sir?
Dean Merritt on Virginia.
All right, Dean. I thank you very much. I will. I'll talk to David and I'll be in touch.
Now, if I turn on that website, there is a place to go to put in your name and email address and phone number, and request to get on a information call, and we'll have an informational call that we'll put out to the people that get on there, and because we use y'all have the capability here of knocking somebody off the call, right? On this call?
I'm not sure if they do. I couldn't answer that. I know.
Actually, yes.
Okay.
Actually, yes, we do have that capability.
Okay, and we do it through pre-conference call for that purpose. We want to make sure that we can kick people off the call that are being disruptive, and then we can block them, and they can't use that phone number. They have to call back in with another phone number. But what we do is when you put your name and number and all that stuff out there, and your email address out there, we send you an email when the call is going to be, and then we take your name and your phone number and put them in the database so that when you call in, we know who you are. And so we're not surprised by one of these infiltrators coming back in, and they have sent infiltrators in themselves, and then when we ask them where did they hear about us, and they tell us, and 9 times out of 10, especially if it's West Coast, we know, okay, this came from one of those. And then when we listen to them talk, now we also know, okay, yep, they put them up to it. And so then we kick those people off the call. We need people in just like you need people in here. We need people in there that will come in there, will listen to what we got going on, and join us. Not criticize. Questions are fine, but criticizing what we got going on and saying something else is better, I haven't seen anything better. And I've been in multiple groups, and most of them have petered out since the year before Obama got in. That's when I started getting out here and doing this stuff, because it irritated me so much that they let an illegal alien run for president, and then they let him stay in there for 8 years. I mean, you talk about constitutional violation. And see, people say, oh, his mother was a citizen, therefore he was a citizen. I said, citizen's not good enough. He has to be a natural-born citizen. In congressional documents, 1866, if you look at page 1292, center column, third paragraph down, it starts off there with, I have no problem with your Constitution that says that a natural-born citizen has to be one with both parents with no other allegiance to any other sovereign, which means they both have to be they both have to be citizens of the United States before their offspring can run for can be a natural born. His father never was natural born, and they let him in there. So that shows that they're not going to that Constitution, and it basically the picture that they took of him, and he had it printed up on a roll of toilet paper, and he says in the caption, "What did you think I was going to do with it?" That's basically and he wasn't the first one. Bush did it. I mean, a bunch of presidents before that. Roosevelt did it. All these presidents did it. Lincoln did it. He's not the first one to do it. So to get this straight, we have to go all the way back to the original fraud, and the original fraud happened while we were out there under the Articles, and they started the treason of writing the Constitution. They had to meet. It wasn't a congressional. It wasn't Congress that met. It was a committee that met, so that they couldn't blame it on the Congress and they couldn't get them out and out for treason. They did it in a committee. Then they sent it to the states and said, "How about if we do it this way?" And that's how it got started. And as you go out there and you read, and you keep in mind, we the people, and we put forth this document here with our delegates, our people that we sent there, our elected owners, we sent them there to do this for our interest, so that we can join together, and all it was for is join together and be able to handle things collectively that we couldn't handle alone, like fight wars, like build roads, like do trade. So they were out there to do this collectively for us as servants, because they were also owners too, because they were part of it too. They were on the de jure side, and then when it went under the Constitution, it just completely wrecked it. And as you read there, as you're reading and you understand what's going on there, you will get frustrated. You will get more frustrated reading that than you have with your own cases. And I've got one of those cases going on in North Carolina right now. The reason I started hiring contractors to do my driving, they suspended my license for a cop that wasn't even a cop, didn't even know what an oath of office was. He pulled me over for doing 70, 74, and a 55, and I was in a Ryder truck. Ryder truck guaranteed that the truck would not run over 67 miles per hour. The judge saw that the cop did not have a calibration. I brought it out in court. Brought it out that he didn't have a oath of office. They should have kicked it out. I brought it out that he opened my door under threat, duress, and coercion. He got my information. That he didn't have an oath of office. That he took my information, and he got back up, which is conspiracy. And then when I got into court, pointed all this stuff out, and then I asked him, did he have a calibration on his radar? He said no. So the judge saw that the calibration couldn't hold, the radar couldn't hold up, so he reduced it to $68. I said, no, you need to throw this out. He said, well, do you want to appeal it? And I appealed it. And they never let me know when the appeal case was going on. So now there's an arrest order that if I walk back in that courthouse, I'm arrested. But the police here will not send me back down there on an arrest order. It has to be an arrest warrant. So I had to hire somebody to go down there so I don't get pulled over in North Carolina and hauled in. So I want to be able to go in there like that frustration that the guy said before about the children. I agree. They've caused you damage. They need to pay. Now, somebody brought up a while ago about going after their bond. That's the first thing, because you want them to be kicked out of that office. You don't want them to be able to get a job as a security guard carrying a gun even, because they have to be bonded there. And we want them never to be bonded again. The other thing is, that does not cover all your damages. Now what do you do? You use a CUSIP number, have them go into the backside of that courthouse and bring forth the payment from the Chris and CUSIP number and give you a trust that you can use that through so that you're still on the private side and that's on the public side to pay your public debt. Now you use that to go out and buy your houses, your cars, and all this stuff. And, you know, when it's in the millions, that'll give us a lot more to fight this stuff with. Just a thought.
Good thoughts.
Judge Mickey, go ahead.
I said they were good thoughts.
Very good thoughts. Hey, Benson?
Yes, sir.
This is Marshal Schubert on Georgia. Can you send me one of your flyers when you get them up?
Yeah, I'm going to work on, my original thought was to advertise the recruiting for the marshals, but I think that's a little bit too much. I think what I'm going to do is get people involved first and then bring up, by the way, we're looking for marshals. So what I'm going to do is put together, did you know you're not supposed to be a U.S. citizen? Kind of go over what I said tonight, put that in a flyer, and I think I'll have one piece of paper with 4, separate little flyers on there. Get it printed, and I'm going to do a combination of mailings, which we do for free. Out of 100 mailings, you may get 2 back that says, no, we require postage, and then just remail them, and second time they always go through. But we can do a lot of mailings. I'm going to go to Walmart and put them on everybody's windshield, hand them out to people. Do the mailings. Maybe start the swap meet. Anyways, yeah, I'll definitely get that to you.
Awesome. I'm going to pass that over to Marshal James in South Carolina. He's looking for some ways to get some interest going over there as well.
Perfect.
So I'm going to take that here for Georgia and then send it over to him as well.
Yeah, perfect.
You did say you're doing the 2-cent mailing, right?
No, it's not a 2-cent mailing. That's one way to do it. We're actually doing a mailing for free. I've done the 2-cent mailing successful, and I've also done this free way successfully. I've actually probably got 100 mailings out now. I've had 3 come back that said postage due, and then we remail them again, and then they go through. If you will text me your email or email me at marshalbenson@afreecountry.com or text me on my phone number 701-421-8437. I will get you a copy of the stamp. So what you got to do is take this picture, take it down to Office Depot, Office Max, Office Supplies, whatever, and have them create you these 2 stamps, or maybe you can combine it into 1 stamp. Stamp your envelope, stamp your registered mail or your return receipt mail, and 99.999% they do go through. Like I said, 3 out of 100 will come back postage due, and then I just resend them again, and then they go through. But I think that's one hell of a great tool. Come up with a flyer. I'll have that done this week because I need to the Republic of Nevada because I got a cop hot in pursuit trying to put me in prison for whatever he can because he says I am a traitor because I was law enforcement for 12 years. I found out the truth. Now I'm helping we the people. So he's doing his damnedest. He's giving me, it's funny, it's really funny. He's giving me 2 tickets, and I beat them both in court. Just laughing. I'm laughing.
What'd you say that phone number was again? 704?
No, negative, 701.
Oh, 701, okay.
421-8437.
Okay. And what's your name again?
Benson. Tom Benson.
Benson, okay.
So I'm going to put out 1,000 flyers a week myself. Well, I've actually got a team. It's a combination of mailings, going to Walmart. I could go door to door. Guys, the success, the key to success to anything is exposure. If you're trying to sell something, exposure. If you're trying to recruit people, exposure. If you're trying to get the word out, this message, exposure. So I'm going to step it up to the next level. I've really have been taking a lot of time doing other stuff with the Court of Record. Maybe I'm still going to do that. I'm going to do that at night, but my days will be absolutely devoted to passing out 200 cards a day. 200 people a day will receive this card. Now that's going to be mailings. See, guys, everybody knows somebody who got a ticket. Everybody knows somebody that this corporation is assaulting using statutes and codes. Code enforcement, foreclosure, CPS, tickets, you name it. You name it. It's all fraud. I'm helping a kid right now. He has 12 little devices that you put into a semi-automatic rifle that makes it automatic. They're charging him with 12 felonies, 10 years per felony. If found guilty, they want to put him in prison for 120 years. That's in Florida. It's the ATF. He's in federal court. And what's really funny is he just filed his Court of Record today. Get this. Get this. He has challenged the jurisdiction on the record. He has a copy of the transcript. Hey, Judge, I'm challenging the jurisdiction of this court. According to 20 Supreme Court decisions, you have to prove it on the record. On the record, she says, I don't have to prove jack. Okay? He says, I demand a trial by jury of my peers in a constitutional compliance. She says, you know what? This is federal court. I have jurisdiction. So, anyways, it's just amazing. It's just amazing how these courts are just committing treason, guys. And it's not just one act of treason. It's like 3 or 4, guys. Get the assembly going. Florida has theirs. We're going to bring this to the Roger Dowdell for a grand jury. If this judge is indicted, guess what? That judge could hang for treason. Guys, it's just a matter of time before a grand jury finds a judge or whoever guilty of treason, and they hang. Okay? So they fear nothing more than we, the people, standing up. How in God's name have I stopped 5 evictions? How? Because they're afraid of treason, guys. Nevada is afraid of treason. For some reason, it's working crazy good, and also in California. So anyways, we're on the right track. Guys, here's the secret. You got to build this. You got to expose this, okay? Get everybody on these calls. Every one of these 1,000 cards a week I'm going to be putting out will have call this number. I'm going to get a website, Nevada Republic, okay? This information will be on the website. I'm going to post on the website a pre-recorded call. So I'm going to have to figure out how to do that. Judge Mickey will probably help me with that. And, a little 15-minute recording. The Supreme Court says if you're a U.S. citizen, you're a slave, blah, blah, blah. Everything I went over at the beginning of the call. But, guys, we need to build this. There's a lot of people like the guy that got on earlier, okay? Let's get together. Let's build this together. I'm getting together with Gary Bergman Sunday. He's doing it differently. But guess what? We agree on one thing. We need to build the grand jury. He's going to complete our grand jury, okay? Now, he's got marshals it's a different way of doing it, okay? His is more focused on international jurisdiction, which I'm not saying is right or wrong. I don't know. Teach me. Let me know what you're doing. Maybe I'll join you. I don't know. But I'm going to be learning all about that. We're having a huge meeting on Sunday that will complete our grand jury. My focus is to complete the grand jury for Nevada, okay? Because Officer Kenneth Meade is going to be, I'm taking his case. That's the first case we're taking to the grand jury. This guy gave me a ticket. I beat it. But after that, when I sued him in federal court, now he bangs down my door, grabs my computers, and he sees, you filed something with the counter recorder. Now we're going to indict you? Really? Where's the injured party? Where's the jurisdiction? Oh, well, you took money from people and you didn't provide them services. Well, what does that have to do with you, even if that's true? Okay, which is not. How is that? How did I injure you? The state of Nevada. How did I injure you? Okay, if I've done something wrong, they need to bring me to court, not you. How is that? How is you getting a bond on the case? How is that in any way, shape, or form justice? You're a corporation, a private corporation. You're esquires. So let's see. Let's analyze this. You take me to court. You're going to accuse me of something. The judge is an esquire. The prosecutor is an esquire. If I get a public defender, that's an esquire. How are we going to get justice? You're all members of the Bar Association, a private corporation. You've got a title of nobility, esquire, that is from the Crown of England. You have a title of nobility. This is justice? Really? Guys, wake up. Anyways, any questions? If not, for Judge Mickey's sake, we'll end the call. Any other questions? If not, we'll end the call.
If I may?
Yes, go ahead. One at a time. Ladies first.
Ladies. Okay, this is Marshal Dolly, real quick. Marshal Stamper, when he was telling us his story about him and I believe it was his cousin in the car, what was it that came up on the officer's computer in his car that said that indeed he was out of the system, number one? Second question is, why didn't that same information come up when they went down to New Mexico and were arrested down there? I don't understand why in one area of the nation it showed he was out of the system, and then when they go down to New Mexico to get Judge D.W. and those guys out, why they still arrested them. And I yield.
Can anybody hear me? This is Gary Bergman.
Hey, Gary.
Yeah, I was trying to get in there a few times, couldn't get through. But regarding the gentleman on there from Georgia still?
Hold on just a second. I'm sorry, not to interrupt, but Dolly, that was a question, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a question for Stamper.
Yes, it was well, I was just curious if either Marshal Benson knew, or if Marshal Schubert, or if Judge Mickey knew the answer to that.
I don't.
I would think there would be the lag in timing, like, well, whatever he has done has finally made it to the appropriate places and notices have been placed. And maybe that wasn't the case when you guys were in New Mexico, or when they were.
Okay. Thank you.
That's just a stab at it, Dolly, and I'm sorry if that's not accurate, but that's the only thing that would make sense to me.
Okay. It sounds good. Thank you.
Gary, go ahead.
Who?
Gary Bergman, you're up.
Yeah, I want to say hello to Dean and Matt. Nice to hear you guys' voice. But regarding the flyers for the gentleman out of Georgia, we took made a trifold flyer that we hand out at community events, carnivals, whatever you got in the area. We set up a booth. We fly the civil flag, and now we'll be flying the flag of the Nevada Republic. Since the original state's a de jure illegal state, it was brought in illegally under martial law. People don't understand that. But we have the Nevada Republic flag. We have the court seal. We have license plates, front and back. And in the tri-seal folder, we show the civil flag, explain about it. We show the court seal. We show the new Nevada Republic. And in the front, we got a deal from Thomas Jefferson. And we have a lot of things tells about common law. And it seems like it works real good.
Fabulous.
That's what we hand out.
Well, I'm definitely interested in. You were reading my mind too. I was thinking about doing some of those things that you had mentioned, so that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and people come over and question about the civil flag. So we have the brochure that's put out by the Kevin Portner that has the civil flags, and then we found another one that says explains about the two different flags, and it brings out some where they can reference it. Like, let's see, the Scarlet Letter, published in 1850, talks about the civil flag, and the History of North America of 1860 talks about the civil flag.
Oh, man. I want that.
And see, people, you have to explain to people that almost every civilized nation has two flags if they have a military. And you say, what's the proper flag for Japan? And they'll say, all right, the white with the red star. All right, what's their military flag? They say, well, I thought that was it. No, you ever see the one that looks like a rising sun? That's the military flag. Same with the Russians. They got three stripes. Same with the Germans. Three stripes, nothing on it. But once they put the eagle or lion on there, it's a military flag. So you have to explain to people what goes on. And I also like to refer to the movie The Sand Pebbles. There's that minute-and-a-half segment in there where it shows them putting down the civil flag and running up the battle flag. And I said the other way, it's easy to verify it, is just Google the Union battle flag. And it will show the stars and stripes that you think is the Republic. I said, that's the battle flag. And he explained like the Confederate flags. What is the battle flags for the South? What were the flags of the Republic of the South? They're different flags. So that's what I'm using, like on Standing Rock. I've been trying to get the natives all the time to order a civil flag up there and protest and fly that. But we're tied in also with the International Common Law Court of Justice out of Brussels, which is made up of 25 Commonwealth nations that want to reestablish common law. And they have international recognition, and we're trying to get a certification program from their court to recognize our certifications in training for our marshals. They've already requested us to go help Native nations Because almost every native nation in the country is a common law court. In fact, I'm reading one from the Navajos right now because they didn't want a military tribunal. They wanted something closer to their deal. And, in the Constitution of the state of Nevada, Article 1, Declaration of Rights. Inalienable rights, all men by nature free and equal, and have certain inalienable rights, among which are those of enjoying and defending life and liberty, acquiring, possessing, and protecting property, and pursuing and obtaining safety and happiness. That's common law. It's not listed, but it's written there. So, and then I run a radio show. I get it on a local community deal. I do an hour. It's called the Seventh Amendment Hour, because our group is the Seventh Amendment Task Force. We have meetings twice a month. And if you're having community meetings, you can get a community announcement free in the newspaper. And on the radio show, we try to explain the difference in flags, and also explain when you're flying the military battle flag on your property, you're recognizing that corporation, its martial laws, and the fact that you have no constitutional rights. In other words, you're saying, come on in, knock my door down, and arrest me without a warrant. By flying that flag, you're surrendering your constitutional rights. So that's just a few of the things we do. And we work with the shooting range for our certification for our officers to be trained, too. Nationally acclaimed one.
And this is some good stuff. We need you guys back every night.
I'm meeting with him on Sunday, and we're going to go over all this. I yield.
Well, listen to this. The first paragraph underneath the Constitution says of Nevada, on October 31st, 1864, October 31st, 1864, you got the Martial Law, General Order 100, April 24th, 1863. President Lincoln proclaimed that the state of Nevada was admitted into the Union on an equal footing with the original state. No way could he do that. That's illegal. And then it goes on to other things. Your allegiance of every citizen is due to the federal government in the exercise of all its constitutional powers, as the same have been and may be defined by the Supreme Court of the United States. And no power exists in the people of this or any other state of the federal union to dissolve with their connection therewith. Now, that's bullshit. And then the officers, the sheriffs, and judges don't even follow that. We're looking at, right now, two judges being disbarred. And we're already taking it to the Attorney General's office because they don't have a bond.
Right.
We got their oath, but we didn't get a copy of the bond. They said there's no records of their bonds.
All right, so you and Benson are getting together on Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
We're going to, I thought, no, we need to join together because I think we're both having problems getting enough people to form a grand jury, and we definitely don't have a grand jury. The DA says we're not entitled to it. Well, she's going to find out different. And then we're just going to form it as the Southern Nevada Common Law Grand Jury.
Awesome.
Because our state's
well,
so big.
I would like to invite you and I believe the other gentleman's name was Dean back to the call.
Oh, Dean Merritt, out of Virginia. Yes, Dean's a good person.
Yeah. I don't want to take up too much time on Mickey's call. I know she's probably tired, and so is Benson. So I want to see if they want to wrap this thing up, or if they want to go for more questions. It's kind of up to them.
Now, if any of you would like to get in and talk about this on our local radio station for an hour or less, you can get hold of me, or I'll give you the phone number now for the radio station. We have a show on Thursdays at 10:30 for an hour. We're in a community of 30,000.
Yeah, give it.
Oh, yeah. Hold on a second. Wait a minute. Hold on. Sorry. Y'all were catching me unprepared. Okay, I'm ready.
Area code 775-990-4900.
And what's the name of the radio program?
It's the Seventh Amendment hour.
What time was that again, Gary?
10:30 Pacific. And we're set up for Skype. For Skype too. Anybody want to Skype?
This is Dean, Virginia again.
Yeah, Dean. He says he's got the phone working now.
Okay. Another place that you can go to get people that will probably jump on board quicker than anywhere else is go to the traffic courts and the foreclosures in the newspaper, the public notices, especially when they first come out before they kick the people out of the house. Get the address, send those people a notice of what you're doing, and what they're doing is illegal, unlawful. And
we have. Go ahead.
And well, see, rich people didn't get involved in this until they started taking their houses. Then all of a sudden they wanted to know what we were, what us patriots, and see, they look at us patriots as being people out there without a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. Well, I'd rather go flush one anyway. So, you know.
Well, we had a court case here last year where a gentleman was illegally jailed because he exposed the money laundering of an ex-Filipino president with the United States in real estate. Well, he served a few years, but he got out, I think, in 5. His case went right up to the state Supreme Court. And in that court decision, they ruled that all the NRS's, Nevada Revised Statutes, were null and void back to, I believe, 1951 or 55. And he has a multi-million-dollar commercial lien against the holdings of the corporate state in the international court. They're trying to get him to settle, but he says, I'm in no hurry to settle. I can sell your international lien with no problem.
Yeah. And then if he dies before they're settled, they can never settle him, other than pay him.
That's right. So he's got him where he wants him. But another thing that we're planning to do is get out there and hand these flyers out to the smaller communities and to the businesses. And the smaller communities that only have one deputy patrol them and say, here's a chance to increase your police force by deputizing and becoming marshals of the common law court and setting up your own court here in your town.
Yeah. That's another thing I was thinking about is that stuff that they wrote up about, all those cases that says that you don't have to have a license to drive or to travel. Put those into a form of either an affidavit or a negative affirmation, and start putting those into the courts, and then let them know. If you have a problem with these, you have a problem with the people in D.C. in the black dresses, not with me.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Well, okay, I yield. I told Tom I'd come on and talk a little bit, unless there's anything else you guys want to talk about from me.
Gary, that was awesome.
Gary.
I just wanted to say hello, Gary. This is Marshal Pruitt.
Yes, my new Facebook friend. Oh, and tell Dave I got the package today.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad to hear you finally got it.
This is Benson. We got ours too.
Excellent.
Oh, good.
Glad to hear it. I just had.
I didn't get mine.
Who's this?
This is Marshal Schubert. I'm just messing with you.
Well, we might be able to work out something there down the road. Before I get sidetracked again, what I was going to mention earlier, not to discourage you, Tom, from doing flyers and stuff, but regarding the marshals especially, I think we need to be very selective on who we get. You can have 100 unqualified people for one reason or the other, or you can have 2 that are worth their salt, and you're going to be a lot better off with 2 than you are those 100. I think putting a flyer out like that would be invitation to get the wrong kind of characters on board.
I'm not advertising the Marshals. I'm advertising the difference between U.S. citizen and a citizen of the Republic of Nevada.
Okay. Well, I just
Nevada Republic. Take that of out.
Out of Republic. Correct.
I just wanted to, throw in that 2 cents there, something to think about, because we do want to have, especially when it comes to the Marshals, we want to have good people we know we can trust, because we're going to be out there in very bad situations here shortly, and the guy next to you better be able to trust him.
Yes, sir. You're absolutely right.
If I may. Hello?
I yield.
Have any of you guys thought of maybe going to the Senior Citizen Center where get the younger ones that want some excitement in their life? They can be at the General Assembly since they're anonymous anyway, and it would give them something to do. They would feel like, they'd be a part of something, and I think they would enjoy it. And I yield.
That's actually a pretty good idea.
Yeah, I was thinking that is a good idea. And a lot of the old timers that are on these calls, and I'm not trying to be offensive to anybody, but they have a thinking process that seems to be a lot deeper as well. So,
and they know a lot of people that have had problems. They can relate, and they know family and friends. They've been on this earth a little longer, and yes, they're a little wiser.
Yeah, maybe that was the word I should have used. Yes.
Well, part of that is because the older generation hadn't been poisoned as much, both by modern technology and by the chemicals and so forth that are being put into everything in our lives. So that's part of the explanation for why the older generation has a different thought pattern. Experience helps that also.
If I may? If I may?
Steve Price, go right ahead, sir.
Well, I was just going to make a comment on what you was just saying about the old farts, and I was just going to say that I think that a lot that has to do with it is that we've been around a longer, and we've seen more changes than others. We've seen what it was then and compared to what it is now, and the difference is drastic.
I agree.
I'm
Y'all do know the
77.
Y'all do know the difference between an old fart and a new fart, right?
Yes.
The old fart, the smell's kind of dissipated. It's easier to be around them than it is to be around the young farts.
Hilarious.
Well, at least we got a good laugh tonight anyway.
If I may.
Right.
All right, this is Marshal Edwards out here in Las Vegas. And speaking about the old farts and young farts, there's one thing that I think a lot of people discount with the older people. The older people, I'm 55 years old, and my father was in World War II and the Korean War, and my whole family's been in the military. And I think right now would be ripe for the pickings to get a lot of these older folks, because you know what, they have a sense of patriotism that a lot of the newer generations do not have. And I think that with Donald Trump being elected and showing, a bit of Americana that we haven't seen in years, and I think that it might be to our benefit to think about those older people, because I am, even though I'm 55 years old, I am very old-fashioned in a lot of ways. I am a veteran also, and so are many members of my family. And you know what? I still think that there's a hell of a lot of Americans, the ones, especially the older ones, that know what things were like at a better time in our history. They've seen the good, they've seen the bad and the ugly. They have seen it, and they have lived through it. And they may see it with a keener eye than a lot of these younger folks. So I think there's a definite advantage to having the older folks. And again, what the other gentleman mentioned about these people that they don't have anything to do. You know what? I haven't had anything to do in a while, and I've been with Tom for a little over a year now. And you know what? It's invigorated me and opened my eyes, my heart, and my soul to what's going on in America and how can I help? What can I do? What needs to be done? Where are we needed? And again, with the older folks, and we're talking 60s, 70s, 80s even, that may need that sense of belonging or to become part of once again. You know, never discount the American people. You know, there's some true blue freaking American people that would die for their country again, and they would do it in a moment's notice. Don't discount them. They're out there. You know, look at what happened right now with this election. All these people, they came out of nowhere, man. They came out of nowhere. Let's not discount them. Out here in Vegas, I have to take my worker over to the VA, that billion-dollar operation up in Vegas. And you know what? I'm thinking about Tom. I'm thinking about the flyers, and I'm thinking about, you know, passing out some flyers up there at the VA, you know, at the Veterans Administration up there, that big hospital. I'm thinking about going into the VFWs. I'm thinking about all my military friends that I do know, going around Nellis Air Force Base, finding a way to get in there, because there are some, and even these young kids are a lot smarter about things as well. Let's not discount, you know, the ones especially that went into the military, because, you know, they're going in there for a purpose, as opposed to these kids that are 18 to 22 holding a sign on the entry and exit ramps of the freeway ramps. The kids in the military, the young kids, they're not those kids on the freeway ramps. So let's not discount them either, you know. So just know there's a lot of Americana still left here in America. There really is, and let's not discount each other. You know, the one thing, and I don't know how people are going to take this, I'm going to say it because I'm in construction. You know, I get tired of hearing about, you know, who's going to work the fields if the Mexicans don't do it, or the immigrants. You know what? Who the hell do you think did it before they got here? The Americans. And I get sick and tired of people discounting and dismissing what us Americans have done throughout our history. You know, out of the most productive people in the world, America is number one and Ireland is number two. Okay? Let's not forget that. We still are the most productive people. You know, and I worked at General Motors, and I worked on the quality control line, and qualitatively productive-wise, Americans are still number one. And people did just keep dismissing and discounting that. You know, it's like, remember what Trump was saying about, you know, like, feel good about America. You know, this is a time to feel good. You know, this is who we are. You know, we're not the globalist. We're not this. We're not that. This is one America. Our flag is the American flag, not the globalist flag. You know, I'm a bit of a patriot, you know, and I love my country, and I don't want to discount what is still left in this country. Look at what we're doing here. This is a bit of a revolution in and of itself. We're fighting 1776 all over again. And you know what? It starts with us. Let's see who else wants to join us. And I'm sure there's a hell of a lot of people out there that we don't even know. You know, so but the old people, let's not discount them, you know. They've got a lot to offer. Probably help us more than we know. I yield.
Guys, we got to end the call here. It was only supposed to be 2 hours. It's gone 2 hours and 20 minutes. Thank you for joining us. Come back next Friday. With any other comments, make it real quick. Other than that, let's end the call. I yield.
God bless everybody.
Good night.
God bless
Yes.
America.
Yes, and I appreciate everybody for what they're doing to help everybody get free. Because if one of us isn't, none of us are free.
Amen.
Thanks,
Amen to
Marshal.
that.
Thanks, Judge Mickey. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you on the calls Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday for ours.
Hey, Benson, if you will, this is Marshal Pruitt. If you
Yes, sir.
will send me a text like you did today, I will do my best to be on every one of them.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah,
Thank
me
you much,
too.
sir.
I only got this one. Yeah, that's why I'm on here. But I mean, I wish I can get them all the time. Tom, this is Renee.
We'll do it.
Thank you, Tom.
All right, guys. All right. With that, thank you, guys. We're going to end the call. Judge Mickey, thank you very much. I know it's late over there. Appreciate you. We're ending the call. God bless. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.